So, let me ask you something. Can you imagine a language that we can read perfectly, but have absolutely no idea what it means? Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's just one of the mysteries of the Iberians, ancient Spain's forgotten people. And today, we're diving into their lost world.
I want you to just picture this for a second. A people who carved these incredible stone warriors, who went toe-to-toe in trade with the Phoenicians and the Greeks, and who stood up to the might of Rome. For 500 years, they were a force to be reckoned with. And then, they were just gone. They left behind a lost world, and, honestly, one of Europe's greatest archaeological mysteries.
Okay, so to really understand the Iberians, we can't just start with them. We've got to go back, way back, because the land they inherited, it already had a deep, dramatic history of its own.
All right, take a look at this timeline. It tells a fascinating story. Long before the Iberians show up, you have this powerhouse Bronze Age society called the Argaric culture. They rise, they dominate, and then poof, they're gone. And look at that gap. They collapse almost a full 1,000 years before the Iberians even appear on the scene. That's a huge, mysterious silence in the historical record.
And these Argajoric people weren't just some small tribe. They were incredibly advanced for their time. I mean, archaeologists call them a state-like polity, which is a fancy way of saying they had all the hallmarks of an early state. Organized government, a powerful elite, and serious control over their territory. They built these massive forts and had a really strict social structure. You can see they left a legacy of power, literally carved into the land.
So, after that 1,000-year quiet spell, something new begins to stir. A new people emerges, and out of the ashes of this ancient past, the Iberian world is born. So the big question is, who were these people who inherited this land of ancient powers? Now, the first thing you got to understand is that the Iberians weren't a single unified kingdom. Think of them more as a collection of different tribes, all living along the Mediterranean coast of Spain. And for about 500 years, their culture was just flourishing. They were masters of farming, their metalwork was top-notch, and they were really smart traders. And they did all this from these awesome fortified towns built on hilltops, run by a wealthy, powerful elite.
And this is what's so cool. They weren't isolated at all. The Iberians were savvy players in the great game of the Mediterranean. I mean, they were wheeling and dealing with everybody. The Phoenicians came looking for metals, and in return, the Iberians got incredible new tech, like advanced metalworking and the potter's wheel. Then the Greeks show up, and suddenly they're trading for luxury stuff like fancy vases, and they even picked up the idea of using coins. They were total networkers.
And this is where things get really interesting, because the old Greek and Roman writers, they kind of looked down on the Iberians. They wrote them off as wild people who needed them to bring culture. But the archaeology tells a totally different story. The stuff they left behind shows a super sophisticated culture that didn't just copy others. They borrowed ideas, adapted them, and created something that was completely, uniquely Iberian.
So, if we can't fully trust the ancient writers, where do we look? Well, we have to become detectives. We have to look at the actual objects they left behind. And that means we're going to piece this puzzle together, one incredible artifact at a time. And let me introduce you to our star witness. This is the Lady of Elche. Can you believe this was just found by a farm worker back in 1897? This stunning limestone bust is, without a doubt, the face of Iberian culture. And for us, she's going to be a key piece of evidence in our investigation.
Okay, let's look closer, because the details here are just mind-blowing. Look at that ornate headdress with those huge coils. They're called rodettes. And the necklaces? They're basically a map of their trade routes, showing connections to Carthage and Greece. You can even see tiny traces of the bright paint she was once covered in. But here's the kicker. There's a hollow stace in the back, and that strongly suggests she was used for something sacred, probably in a funeral.
So what does that mean? Who is she? A goddess? A powerful queen, immortalized in stone? Or was she basically a very, very fancy funerary urn meant to hold the ashes of someone important? To this day, the experts are still arguing about it. It's a fantastic mystery.
But you know, as amazing as their art is, the Iberians left behind an even bigger puzzle, and that's their writing.
Okay, get ready for this, because this is the Great Iberian Paradox. We have cracked their script. It's what's called semi-syllabic. Some symbols are letters, others are whole syllables. We know how it sounds. We can literally read their writing out loud. But here's the problem. We have almost no idea what any of the words mean. The language itself is a complete unknown. It's like a ghost language. We can hear its voice, but we can't understand what it's saying. So what happens to this incredible, artistic, literate culture? Well, their story takes a dramatic turn. Their fate wasn't decided by them, but by a massive clash of empires, a collision between two of the ancient world's biggest superpowers.
Yeah, we're talking about the Punic Wars, the epic struggle between Rome and Carthage, and the Iberian Peninsula. It became the main stage for their conflict. Iberian warriors were famous for being fierce fighters, so both sides hired them as mercenaries. They were caught right in the middle. But you know how that story ends. Rome wins. And once Carthage was out of the picture, Rome turned its full, unstoppable attention to conquering the entire peninsula for itself.
And it wasn't a quick fight. It was a long, brutal conquest that took nearly 2 centuries. By the 1st century BCE, it was over. The last resistance was crushed. And the unique Iberian culture, with its incredible art and that mysterious language, it just slowly faded away, absorbed into the giant Roman machine and becoming the province of Hispania.
And just like that, they were gone from the main pages of history. But does that mean they disappeared completely? Are there still echoes of their lost world we can find?
Well, think about this. Archaeologists have found over 2,000 inscriptions written in the Iberian script. 2,000! That's thousands of messages from this lost civilization just sitting there right in front of us, and we can pronounce every single one. But their meanings? Still a secret, locked away in time.
You know, from the mysterious look on the Lady of Elche's face to those silent words carved in stone, the Iberians are just this incredible reminder that whole worlds can vanish. But they don't always disappear completely. They leave behind these little clues, these fascinating puzzles, almost daring us to figure them out. Their world is still whispering to us, and it really makes you wonder, what else are they waiting to tell us?